Sometimes people find it challenging to understand each other. Kindness is seen as a sign of weakness and excessive austerity. He thought that the predator was going to tear him to pieces, but in fact, the animal had entirely different intentions. The tale is about one of the deadliest creatures known to man, a mama tiger. But it might not turn out like you expect, as this is a story about overcoming one's natural instincts and fear in order to ask for help from the last creature you might expect. When a mother tiger asks for help from a local forester to save her cub, she ends up repaying him a year later in the most incredible way. This is a story about overcoming one's natural instincts and fears in order to ask for help from the last creature you might expect. Now, I'll start the story by saying it's a fictionalized series of events. However, this story's main theme and message is an important one that many people might find helpful in their everyday lives. In today's society, it's often not easy to understand one another, as the key skills of patience, listening, and kindness are ones many people have forgotten. Many people simply look out for themselves, ignoring anyone less fortunate than themselves who might need a little help to get back on the right track. This kindness that could help so many people is often seen as a weakness that will lead you to get trampled over by anyone bigger and more forceful than yourself because of how difficult it is to understand other people. In this day and age, it might seem almost impossible to understand animals of different species. But the story that I'm going to tell you today shows how a little bit of patience, kindness, and understanding can go a long way in helping someone truly in need. The story that I'm about to tell you happened around 15 years ago. An old man who had been a forester his entire life lived in a small village in the territory of Aurelia. He lived with his adult daughter, her husband, and their young son. One day, as he often liked to do, the old man wandered into the local forest in order to get some fresh air. He liked to visit the woods as he loved the natural beauty that they possessed, as well as all the fresh food they had to offer to anyone who looked for it. On that particular day, the old man had gone in search of some blueberries so that he could treat his grandson, as he loved to eat fresh berries. And what could be fresher than fruit right from the forest? The old forester knew the area like the back of his hand, so he decided to venture further into the woods so that he could find the huge berries to surprise his grandson. Having found the place that he was looking for, the man wasted no time in squatting down and started to pick the fruit that he had found and put it into the basket that he'd brought with him. As picking the berries was quite a relaxing and therapeutic activity, the forester quickly lost track of his surroundings. He soon realized that he had come to a massive and deep hole, but had no clue how he'd managed to get there. Suddenly, he heard a furious growl, which he knew meant danger. The growl had come from a huge tiger. It seemed that the animal had sensed that the man was trespassing on its territory and was making it very clear that he was definitely not welcome there. Luckily, the old forester knew that tigers like to roam these forests, so he didn't come unprepared. He quickly picked up his gun, which he'd brought with him in case of a situation like the exact one he found himself in. He fired a shot into the air, hoping to scare the huge beast away. The animal ran to the side of the hole, scared of the noise, but seemingly in no hurry to leave the area. It seemed as if there was something that the tiger wanted, and it would stay around this area until it had it, even if it meant getting shot by the forester. Scanning the surrounding forest, the forester quickly came to realize why the tiger wasn't running away. On the floor, not too far from where he was standing, lay a little tiger cub. Upon closer inspection, the old man noticed that the cub had gotten caught in a bag and couldn't get out again. The mama was simply guarding her baby, not knowing any other way that she could possibly help it. The man knew that if he did not help the baby animal, it would die in the bag, as it would not be able to eat, drink, or protect itself from other predators. Seeing no other option, the forester decided that he would risk his life to save the baby tiger. Now, why was this such a risk for the man? Well, if the mother tiger believed that he was trying to hurt her baby in any way, she would attack and possibly kill the old man. Knowing the risks, the forester carefully approached the cub and took out his penknife. He swiftly got to work on opening the bag. After a few tense-filled minutes, it sprung open and the cub broke free. Not wanting to push his luck any further, the man left the area in a hurry and made his way back toward his home. The entire way back through the woods, the man felt as if he was being followed. Knowing that the most likely culprit was the tiger, he picked up his pace and finally broke through the tree line and into the safety of the open field. Once he felt like he was safe enough away from the woods, he turned around, only to see the adult tiger standing behind the trees. She gave the forester a look as if she wanted to say thank you for helping her cub, but she didn't know how to. The man did not understand and simply left the park to go back home. About a year later, the old forester was sitting at home waiting for his daughter and son-in-law. They had been to the city to buy a new baby crib as they were expecting another child. But the young couple were late, which made the old man worry. Suddenly, one of the man's neighbors ran into his house and started shouting that something terrible had happened. A tiger was walking around the village covered in blood and carrying something in its teeth. The forester quickly grabbed his gun and followed his neighbor into the street. They met up with a few of the other men from the village and began firing their weapons into the air, hoping they would scare the tiger back into the forest, but it didn't work. After noticing the forester amongst the group, the huge beast lowered its head, put some sort of red bundle on the ground, and walked away to hide behind the trees. The forester realized it was the same tiger from a year ago. He stepped closer to the object that the animal had dropped and was shocked at what was lying on the ground, wrapped in a torn bit of his daughter's dress. It was a newborn baby. Terrified at what might have happened to his daughter, the old man scooped the baby into his arms and began following the tiger into the woods. As if knowing what the man wanted, the animal started leading him through the forest. They soon came upon an old, rickety, rotten bridge that no one had used for many years. Surprisingly, though, someone had clearly tried to use it recently, but their weight had been too much and the rotten boards had broken. The forester looked under the bridge and saw his daughter and son-in-law lying on the rocks beneath. He scrambled down to them as fast as he could. When he reached the couple, he noticed that his daughter was still alive, but sadly her husband had not survived the fall. A rescue team was called out, and the woman was taken to a nearby hospital to be treated. After she was stabilized and recovered enough to talk, she explained everything. It turned out that she had persuaded her husband to take her to an old spot that she loved from her childhood, and to get there, they'd tried to cross the abandoned bridge. The stress of the fall forced the woman to go into labor. During this, she thought she saw a tiger, but she couldn't be sure. She soon lost consciousness. Having heard the story, the forester came to understand that the beast, whose baby he once saved, had repaid her debt by saving the man's new grandson, and she managed to do it just in time. Without the tiger's help, the old man could have lost everyone he cared about. At that moment, the old man also realized why the animal had never attacked him a year prior. She had wanted to say thank you for saving her cub's life. We could all do with trying to be a bit more patient so that people can express themselves adequately, because humans find the dumbest things to fight over. An animal is focused on finding food, staying away from danger, loving their offspring, finding a healthy mate to reproduce with, etc. And here we are, fighting over skin color, race, ethnicity, height, weight, etc. We measure success with something artificial like money, status, and the media. And we're so superficial.